Okay. Okay. All right. Shalom. Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua B'Katham to the brothers. Shalom Yahweh Shamar Alathun Ba'Hashem Yahushua to the sisters. We are the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge. Start at the 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohanan. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group nor any other Christian organization. So tonight's class is the Lashawan Qadash class, all right? The Lashawan Qadash, a very, very important class to attend, all right? To learn the language of your ancestors is very, very important to understand when coming into this culture. All right, it's very understand when you're coming into the culture, you're coming back to your heritage. You're coming back to the traditions of the Most High. Like in our language plays a very, very important role. Like our language in Lashawan Qadash, it's like our language, which is the Lashawan Qadash, which is the Hebrew language, is part of our traditions. It's part of our heritage. It's part of our culture to speak it amongst each other and speak it with each other and speak it to each other. All right, it's very, very important. All right, very, very important. All right. Now, of course, if you have any questions, you can put it into the live chat. If you have any questions, make sure you put it into the live chat. Do not forget, ask your questions. It doesn't matter if it's Hebrew. It doesn't matter if it's a scripture question. We'll get to it towards the end of class. If it's a Hebrew question, we'll ask it in class. That's no sweat. All right. All right, or I should say during class. That's no sweat. But do not forget to ask your questions. Do not be afraid to ask your questions. It's all right if you want to know something. I promise you it's okay, and we'll make sure we get everything answered, all right? Please, all right? Do not forget, all right? But remember, this is very important for us, man. To learn the language of our ancestors is very, very important. So, last week, we went over possessive pronouns, okay? So last week we went over possessive pronouns. Now previously in the past, before those classes, we went over subject pronouns, object pronouns, all right, and now we're on possessive pronouns. Now the reason why I bring that up, the reason why I bring that up is due to the fact that possessive pronouns this is pretty much the last step until we go back to our tenses. It's the very last step before we go into the, so we went over the past tense before, we went over the present tense before, but now we're going to enter into the past tense after the possessive pronouns. But we're still learning the majority of the possessive pronouns. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write on the board a chart of the possessive pronouns, all right? I'm going to write on the board pretty much the chart in the guideline of possessive pronouns, and I'm going to go over them. And then I want to really touch basis and touch on how to use possessive pronouns with nouns that are pluralized, all right? Because these things, remember, this is dealing with grammar, all right? We want to know how to speak Hebrew. We want to know how to speak the Lashawan Qadash grammatically correct. That's something that you want to learn. All right. Now this is the fundamentals in the basics of learning and speaking the Lashawan Qadash. All right. So this is one of the what we're going to go over is really the fundamentals of grammatically speaking the Lashawan Qadash. All right, that's something that we have to understand. This is going to be the foundation and how to speak the Lashawan Qadash grammatically correct. When it comes to sentence structure, when it comes to building sentences, you're going to have to know how to use subject pronouns, object pronouns, and possessive pronouns. Then as well, of course, we're going to add how to use possessive pronouns with nouns that are pluralized. These are things that we're going to have to learn in the Hebrew, all right? Because it's different when it comes to speaking in English. In English, possessive pronouns are by themselves. And nouns that are pluralized are also by themselves, and all you do to make something pluralized in the Hebrew, all right, pluralized in the English is just add a S behind it, all right. So there's a little more to, there's going to be a little more to what we got going on, all right. Select it. Alright, so we'll get to it. All right. So what we have on the board now, we're going to kind of slightly go over it real quick. All right. Well, not too quick, but we're going to we're going to go over it. All right. We're just going to go over it. All right. I won't go too fast because this is not really much of a recap. It may be a recap to some, but not a recap to all. So I'm still going to break it down. All right. So Salakia. All right, so bear with me. All right, let me make sure. Remember, if you have any questions, please, Bubba Kwashab, just ask and we'll get to it. So what we have on the board, right? These are your possessive pronouns. These are some of your possessive pronouns. All right, these are some. Okay, and I mean some of your possessive pronouns. Of course, there's so many more possessive pronouns, but this is just a little bit. All right, just a little bit of them. All right. So now, Salaki, let me fix that for you on the board. All right. So these are your possessive pronouns on the board. All right, these are your possessive pronouns on the board. You have my, your, and his. This is what's on the board. My, your, and his. Shalom. Yabashim Shukatah. Come. Right now I'm in the class. Come. Right, come. Come. Absolutely, come. Come. Shalom, Lord of Christ. All right. So give me 1 second. So right now we have our possessive pronouns. Make sure you put this into your notes. All right. Also, don't forget to sign in and check in as well. Do not forget to sign in and check in as well. All right. All right, make sure you put your name, city, and state. Lock you. All right, do not forget to check in. All right. Make sure you put your name, city, and state. Do not forget to check in. So right now we're going over possessive pronouns. All right? Possessive pronouns. All right. So let's get back to it. So these are your possessive pronouns on the board. So lucky about that. All right. So lucky about that. I had to make sure I get the word from one of the generals. So lucky. So now possessive pronouns. All right. Possessive pronouns. All right. You have possessive pronouns. You have my. My is a possessive pronoun. Now this is pretty much like a recap. All right. So this is pretty much a recap. All right. So you have my. You have your ya. Right? My is ya, or ya is my. So this is the Lashawan Qadash, and this is in the English. Okay? So this is just a recap of your possessive pronouns. All right? So remember, this is just a recap of your possessive pronouns. Ya is my. All right? You have ka, which is your. You have ka. You have wa, which is his. Okay? So Salaki, allow me to make that little in the wrong area so there's no confusion. So lock it. Let's see. Alright. Just make sure everyone can see the board, alright? So in the Lashawan Qadash, in the Hebrew, these are your possessive pronouns. So your ya, this is your ya in the Paleo. This is your ya in the Assyrian, which means my. Alright? You have ka in the Paleo. Then you have your ka in the Assyrian. This would be your. So ka is the possessive pronoun your. Ya is the possessive pronoun my. You have wa. This is your wa in the Paleo. This is your wa in the Assyrian, which is his. Wa, right? Wa is the possessive pronoun for his. Wa is the possessive pronoun for his. Alright? So you have ya, you have ka, and you have ma. It's like your wa. So you have ya, ka, and then you have your wa. Lock it. So, Laki, let me know if you guys can still see me and hear me. I think there's some technical difficulties on my end. Okay, we're still to live on the Facebook. All right. All right. So you have your ya, your ka, and then your wa. Ya is my, ka is your, wa is his. Now let's not forget this rule. Possessive pronouns are always found at the end of the word. All right. No matter, so when you have a noun on the board, right, your possessive pronoun will always be attached to that noun. You will rarely see a possessive pronoun not attached to some form of noun. All right, a possessive pronoun will never ever really sit by itself. A possessive pronoun will be attached to a noun. It will always have a noun attached to it. All right, or slaki, the possessive pronoun will always be attached to a noun. Nouns and possessive pronouns are inseparable in the Hebrew. They're not separate away from each other like when we're speaking in English. Possessive pronouns will always be next to the noun. So remember that. And specifically, these nouns will be these possessive pronouns will be located at the back of the noun, at the end of the noun. That's where these possessive pronouns will be located. That's where they will be. So your ya is my, your ka is your wa is his. All right. All right, let's get the next set of possessive pronouns. All right. All right. So here's the next set. Okay, so here's the next set of possessive pronouns. All right. All right, here we go. Is my, your car. All right, so here we go. So these are the next set, all right? So these are the next set. Not hard, pretty easy, pretty simple. Let me go ahead and break it down for you. Now remember, we need this, all right? We need this fundamental grounds when it comes to grammatically speaking the Lashawan Qadash correctly. When it comes to speaking the Hebrew correctly, this is a foundation that we need. This is a fundamental criteria that we need in order to speak the Lashawan Qadash correctly. There is a right way to speak the Hebrew. There is a right way to speak the Lashawan Qadash. We do not want to forget that. All right? We want to keep that in mind. There is a proper way to speak the Hebrew language. There is a proper way to speak the Lashawan Qadash, and we want to speak it grammatically correct. Now there are times where you may not have to be grammatically correct all the time. But in every language, you want to learn how to be grammatically correct first before you start speaking in slang and etc., etc. You want to know the fundamentals first. You want to know the foundation of the actual language first. We do this in every language. You do it in Spanish, you do it in English, you do it in French, so we're going to do it in the Hebrew too. Here you go. So this is your ha. This is your ha in the Paleo. This is your ha in the Assyrian. These are possessive pronouns in the Hebrew. These are possessive pronouns in the Lashawan Qadash. Ha is the possessive pronoun for hers. So ha is a possessive pronoun for hers. Ha is the possessive pronoun for hers. Then you have Nawa, right? You have Nawa. This is your na. This is your wa. This is your na in the Paleo. This is your wa in the Paleo. Put it together, it's nawa, nawa, or nawa, 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 right? Nawa or nawa, nawa, all right? Nawa. This is your na in the Assyrian. This is your wa in the Assyrian. Put it together, right? Nawa, 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 which means hour. So nawa is the possessive pronoun for hour. So nawa is the possessive pronoun for hour. Nawa is the possessive pronoun for hour. All right? Then you have calm. Now you have calm. This is your ka in the Paleo. This is your ma in the Paleo. You put it together, it's calm. Calm. You have your ka in the Assyrian, and then your ma in the Assyrian. You put it together, it's calm. Calm, which is you plural or y'all in the masculine tense or the position of authority tense. Calm is you plural or you all in the masculine tense or the position of authority tense. All right? So if you're talking to a brother or you're talking to someone in a position of authority, which in Israel you would be talking to a brother, you would be talking to a man, right? You would want to use calm when referring, right, to something that's being possessed, right? All right? I'm just letting you guys know. That's when you would use calm. Is when you're referring to either a brother or a man possessing something, something that might be all of theirs or y'all's, I should say. All right, like that's y'all car, and let's say that's a whole bunch of brothers, and I say that's y'all car. You would have to use calm within that sentence. All right, you would have to use calm within that sentence. All right. Okay, these are your possessive pronouns. All right, we have three more. All right, we have three more to go over. All right. Now these are fairly easy. All right, they're fairly easy. They're not hard. Trust me, they're not hard at all. They're fairly easy. All right. And then once we go over them, we're going to give each other some examples. Well, actually, Salakia, we're not going to go over the examples today. What we're going to do is go over the charts today, because I want to get into pluralized possessive pronouns. All right. All right. So these are the next set of your possessive pronouns. All right. So this is the next step in your possessive pronouns. All right. These are the next set within your possessive pronouns. They're not too hard. They're not too bad. All right. So you have con. You have con. Now, con means yes in the Hebrew, but when con is attached to a noun, at the back of a noun, at the end of a noun, it means you all in the feminine tense or in the subservient tense. So if I want to say this is y'all car and it's a bunch of women, and I'm saying it's y'all car, it's a bunch of sisters, I would have to use con. So this is your ka in the paleo. This is your na as well in the paleo. This is your ka in the Assyrian. This is your na in the Assyrian. And put that together, it's con. 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 Meaning you all. Pluralize y'all as a possessive pronoun. Alright? As a possessive pronoun. Alright? As a possessive pronoun. Then you have is your ma. You have your ma. This is your ma in the paleo. This is your ma in the Assyrian, which means there. Which means there in the masculine tense or the position of authority tense. Then you have, right? So ma is there as a possessive pronoun. Ma is there as a possessive pronoun. Then you have your na, right? Your na. This is your na in the paleo. This is your na in the Assyrian. Na also means there, but in the feminine tense or the subservient tense. Alright? So if you're referring to a group of women or a group of sisters, and you're saying this is their house or their car, you would have to use na. Alright? You would use na. You would say bayaf na, meaning their house. Or you would use bayaf ma, meaning their house, but in the masculine form. Or you would use bayaf kan, right? Meaning that's your house. Ha hawa abayaf kan. That's your house. Or I could say ha hawa abayaf kan, meaning that's your house, but in the masculine tense. All right. All right. Give me a second. Hey, Shalom. Make sure you call your mother. All right. Make sure you call your mother. Daddy's in class. All right. Daddy's in class. Okay. Thank you. The water. Okay. All right. So these are your possessive pronouns. Con, you plural. Ma, there in the masculine tense. Na, meaning there in the feminine tense. All right. So those are your possessive pronouns. So now what we're going to learn next. All right. So what we're going to go over next. We're still going to be going over possessive pronouns. Right. But I'm going to put a chart on the board to explain, all right, to explain how to use possessive pronouns, right, with, okay, possessive pronouns in accordance with nouns that are plural, all right? All right. me see. All right. Okay. So what we have next here is now these are still possessive pronouns. What I have on the board. Now let me find out to see if you guys can see the board. All right. No glares in the way. Okay, that's the wall. Okay, that's the wall. Okay, everybody can see the board, right? No sign correct. Okay, let's get to it, all right? Now, these are still possessive pronouns, all right? Don't forget, these are still possessive pronouns. But this is how you would use possessive pronouns if they were pluralized, all right?